Hey, good evening, everyone. Pope Francis has been meeting with hundreds of activists from social movements and civil society organizations today in Bolivia. The event is taking place in the eastern city of Santa Cruz and shows once again how much emphasis this first Latin American Pope is placing on issues of poverty, exclusion, and climate change. President Evo Morales also spoke at the meeting. Representatives of the social movements presented a Declaration of Santa Cruz, as it was called, containing a number of demands and proposals to achieve a society with greater fairness and dignity. And Pope Francis also held a meeting with several thousand bishops, priests, and members of religious orders. He warned them of the dangers of members of the clergy ignoring the suffering and the needs of the poor.
Es el eco de la indiferencia, de pasar al lado de los problemas.
To pass by on the other side is the echo of indifference. To pass by the problems and not let them touch you. To say it's not my problem, we won't listen to them. We don't recognize them. Not to listen is the temptation to naturalize pain and to get used to injustice.
Sordera. Es la tentación de naturalizar el dolor, de acostumbrarse a la injusticia.
And earlier, the Pope celebrated Mass before tens of thousands of believers at the Christ the Redeemer Square in Santa Cruz. He told them, too, to act in favor of the poorest in society, and he called for a fight against selfishness and the fragmentation that characterizes much of modern society.
Y no son pocas las veces que experimentamos el cansancio de este camino. No son pocas las veces que faltan las fuerzas para mantener viva la esperanza.
Often we feel tired of the pace of life. Often we lack the strength to keep our hope alive. How often do we experience situations that try to smother our memory? This is how hope is weakened and how we lose our reasons for joy. This is how a sadness that turns individualistic starts to take control, a sadness that makes us lose the memory of the people that we love. And that loss disperses us and closes us to others, especially to the poorest ones.
The Pope also noted that a country's richness and development is measured in its people.
La riqueza más plena de una sociedad se mide en la vida de su gente.
The fullest richness of a society is measured in the lives of its people, in its elderly, who manage to pass on their wisdom and their people's memory, and in the children. Jesus never ignores anyone's dignity, no matter their appearance of having nothing to share. He takes everything the way it comes.
And Pope Francis received an unusual present from President Evo Morales when he arrived in Bolivia on Wednesday night. Now check this out. The Bolivian leader handed him a number of gifts. Among them was a statue of Jesus Christ on the cross, shaped in the form of the iconic communist symbol of the hammer and sickle. Now the Pope smiled, but he did look a little bemused, as we see there.
Certainly this was not planned by the Pope, this is clear, but the Pope hasn't made particular signs of. He accepted the gift, we have seen it, we have seen the President giving him the honorary gifts, but this was not something that was known about by the Pope. Why? Because normally the Pope never accepts these kind of honorary gifts. This is a fact. But the Pope did not have any particular reaction, nor did he tell me to express any particular negative reaction to this.
On the other hand, movements critical of Bolivian President Evo Morales have claimed they have been left out of the events around Pope Francis's visit because of their opposition to the government.
It's absolutely political, because the representatives of the people can't participate and bring the truth to the Holy Father. So we are worried, because probably the Pope will leave with the impression that this is a wonderful country, that Evo is an exemplary president, and that human rights aren't violated. But here, human rights are violated.